let's begin where how this film came to fruition. I know, I mean, it was 34 years from the time that you actually did this event, and there must have been many, many people approaching you to want to do this story, whether they did it as a documentary or wanted to fictionalize it in a way, you know, with actors and so forth. How did this you hold out for so long, and then ultimately meet James Marsh to direct this?
Well, it was a very natural path. I wanted to make a film even before the adventure started. That's why I organized this footage as archives to be shot. And I believe I'm a great movie maker, but I cannot prove it. I have not done my first film yet. And of course, I failed after the wire walk to do the Charlie Chaplin thing, which is to direct, to write, to act, to... So I made a fool of myself, imagining I could impose in Hollywood my feature film of my adventure. And 34 years passed, and you are very right to say that during that time I was receiving a lot of proposals from great directors, from totally unknown directors, students of movie schools. And it was very natural that I only said yes when I thought all the spirit was right. And for me, the spirit had to be right with a word that is not welcome in Hollywood, collaboration or consultation or participation. I'm talking artistically mostly. And when it became right, when James Marsh was introduced to me, and I had to agree to everyone in the film, the director first, and we had a great dinner where no one ate anything. Strange thing for a Frenchman who loves to drink and eat. And we shook hands, and he welcomed this collaboration of me, not only taking the film from my book to reach the clouds, which now has been retitled Man on Wire, of course. So it was a very natural process. It was not I was holding and I had a plan, you know. I never have a plan. I mean, I dream, and I make my dream comes true, and that's enough of a plan right there.
But besides the idea of what you had a vision for, was there financing in place as well, so that when you found the right person to tell your story, that it would
well, I cannot speak intelligently about financing, but of course, actually, it started with a producer in England wanting to make a film. So I guess producers should produce, and it did happen. But that's the magic of making a film. I was very concerned about the artistic part and my participation. And anyway, now there is not much to say. You've seen the film, and I think the film speaks for itself on the power that it has on people, how it inspires people. And was I aware that Man on Wire would have such an incredible success with the audience from the very beginning in Sundance? No, but there is also a certain knowledge that my adventure, the adventure of the work at the World Trade Center, is such an incredible subject, and my book was written by a frustrated movie maker, as a script almost, as little scenes. So I knew it's a great adventure, and you have to make a great film of it. And therefore, I knew in advance that if a film is one day made of my adventure, it's going to interest people and amaze them and inspire them in the same way that the real work did. So in that sense, yes. I mean, in the Oscar, when they opened the envelope, I was almost falling asleep. I knew the man was going to say Man on Wire, and he did.
Well, it must.
No, but hold on. This, hold on. This is not egocentricity, or this is not. No, this is sincere. It's you. Everybody should know. You should know your strengths. You should know your frailties. You should believe in yourself. You should believe in life. If not, what's for us to do here? So this is not arrogance. Although I'm professing arrogance a lot, but no. This was just I knew this film was something that caught the imagination. It was above and beyond because I did carry those towers inside me as more than interesting structures. If you read my book and maybe in the film, although it's not addressed very much, but you can feel those towers are alive for me and they are alive inside of me. So I think there is a word in a dictionary that describes very well how I felt. It's evisceration, you know, pulling something out of you. So yes, that's what happened in me. When you take a first step in any course of life, I don't think that's where your decision goes. I think what you described, the concentration, the decision, the moment of courage, I think it comes before, because the first step is the first action, actually, the first move onto doing something. And the motor of that move comes before the action. So you have to make a decision. And before the first step, the decision was to put one foot on the cable as the other foot was on the tower. That already was a very important moment. And then before the first step, another important moment was to shift my weight, and I described that in detail in the book, so that all my weight is on the foot holding on to the cable, and therefore the other foot is now very light and can reach the cable as well. That's now 2 feet on the cable. It's the beginning of a new life. And then came the first step. So, but it's nice to recall all those steps before the first step, because they happen in a different way before any high wire walk I perform. And you are right, there is a big change, in who I am. I stop being the engineer or the theatrical director or the master rigger. I become the man on wire, the wire walker, and this shifting cannot be the object of a question mark. It has to be underlined or saluted by an exclamation point. When I talk about being on the wire or being around the wire or my life or my art, I use my own words and I mix many things. But anyway, there was all those things that you talked about, the air, the void. So ask me.
Well, from the time you step onto the wire, you just didn't walk across once, and that was it. Although that would have been historical enough. You went back several times. Is that correct?
Well, yes and no. It is correct in a historical account, but it is incorrect in the sense that I didn't know I was going to walk more than once or twice or 3 times. I didn't have a little counter, and it was an improvised performance, and I think that's very important to say. Not only illegal, or let's call it a surprise, but I didn't know what I was going to do there. I just wanted to offer the knowledge that I had as a wire walker to the negative space. This doesn't do justice to the Twin Towers, but this is to talk about the negative space. When you see 2 towers, imagine this one with an antenna, the North Tower, you could think of the 2 towers, and as a wire walker, it would be very logic to think of linking the 2 towers. But actually what interested me as a poet, was to deal with the negative space, with the absence of, which is full of mystery, of course. You know, the void, it's not empty at all, it's full. So I decided to not decide. I wanted to be there and see what happened, and I knew, since I'm not a stuntman, I knew I was not going to run across and say, I did it. I wanted to see what happened, and many things happened, and thus the book. And some of what happened is on the screen now. It was an exploration, truly, because nobody had been on a thin piece of cable a quarter of a mile in the sky before, and truly because, as you describe, there were turbulence, there was a giant void full of air moving, the towers were moving themselves, so it was a very strange world full of mysteries. And that is to say, I improvised completely my performance. And actually, at the beginning, it was not a performance, so it was a very strange kind of performance, unannounced, so you cannot bring an audience. Invisible, I'm a little dot in the sky. You hardly could picture the limbs, and certainly couldn't see my face. And it was very intimate. It was between the horizon and me, the negative space of the tower and me, the towers and me, the cable and me, the sky, the wind, the birds and me. And then at some point, of course, I heard the rumor from below, because 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000 people. At the end, my friends told me there were 100,000 people there. So then the crowd made itself heard. And I was, I don't know what, I was maybe saluting the horizon. I heard applause. And actually the applause took a long time to reach me, because it was so high. And of course, when you give an artist on stage an appreciation, then it becomes a performance. There is a way to react. You do another move and you hear another acclamation. And so my intimate performance became an open performance, a public performance, and then it became mixed. Then, as also you said, the police came, and then it changed a little bit the game. I shouldn't use that word because I hate it, but what I mean is, well, actually, yes, the police being there, I can use a word that I hate. It was a police game. But and then even that changed. We saw on the screen this policeman who makes a statement of an amazed onlooker, and he's forgetting he's a policeman. He talks about the beauty of. So you see, all that to me was unprepared, and I think this is very one of the reasons why this apparition in the sky in New York at that moment inspire people so much and rejoice people so much. Would have been very different to create a performance in a different way than by surprise.